Covering the Universal Orlando Resort for over 5 years, you are listening to the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 242 of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. I am Darren, and with me we have Tracy.
Hello!
And we have Hunter.
Somebody once told me.
What?
And the drummer of the UUOP, the real backbone, Lee Malaby.
Hello, everyone. What was that song, by the way?
All-Star by Smash Mouth?
Yeah, I thought it was.
I didn't recognize it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we should all sing our intros one time.
I've said we need to do a musical where we sing everything we're going to say.
We'd have to have tunes, though. I can't just
Nah,
sing.
bollocks. Just sing what you want.
That will be very fun.
It'd be awesome.
Who's gonna listen to that?
I think it'd be funny. Hello, and welcome to the show. This is 242, yeah.
Can I make you a piano ballad about you crying outside in the rain in front of an Auntie Anne's?
Of course. Yeah, Hunter can play the guitar, he can do the music, and we'll just sing all our bits.
Look at him. But more importantly, the reason why I open with that is, as far as the pantheon of pop songs, I mean, you've got stuff like, you've got Heartbreak Hotel, you've got Hey Jude, you have All-Star by Smash Mouth.
Right.
They really all tie together, and I think we should show our respects more often to these artists, the true Renaissance men that were Smash Mouth.
I agree.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Just nod and smile, dear.
Wholeheartedly. So today we finally concede. Disney's better than Universal, right?
No.
Heyo!
Hunter's last show, everyone.
And we're going to talk about things Universal can learn from Disney. Really?
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course we're going to end it with what we think Universal does better. but first we'll talk about those things that Universal can learn from Disney. And I don't know, Lee, you want to kick it off?
I mean, it's different for us. It's difficult because we haven't visited Disney for 4 years at this point. So obviously this is going off. You know, we can't speak to magic bands or anything like that.
No.
So it's literally just our experience of the parks. And what we know, you know, the parks themselves haven't changed that much. But one of the things, and it's a daft one, it's not really something that they're doing better, but I think it's something that I wish Universal would do, and that's opening the parks longer.
Yeah.
I don't
Kind of touched on
understand.
that
You know,
before.
we've talked about it so many times on this show that I think whatever theme park you're in, it doesn't even necessarily need to be a Universal or a Disney or even a SeaWorld or a Busch Gardens, just any local theme park, an Alton Towers or a Flamingo Land or a Six Flags or whatever. Those parks, the atmosphere changes once the sun goes down and they become a completely different park. And I love the Orlando theme parks after dark. But my issue is my only experience of Universal after dark, and not the podcast hosted by Craig Lucas and those other idiots down there. You know, the Islands of Adventure in Universal Studios Florida, once the sun goes down, is Halloween Horror Nights. So they're not the same parks, and it's such a shame. Yet you can go to any Disney park, Animal Kingdom only just recently, but you know, Epcot and Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom, where you can be in those parks to anywhere up to, if you've got extra magic hours, anywhere up to, like, I don't know whether it's so much now, it used to be 3 o'clock in the morning, but you know, after midnight. Yet most of the time when we come to Florida, we're getting kicked out at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you see that they just announced? Well, now I don't feel as bad because this whole episode is about comparison, so I'm not just pulling this out on a random episode. Did you see that Pandora, the World of Avatar, is officially bumping up Animal Kingdom to a 1 a.m. park?
Really?
They will close at 1 a.m., at least during the summer, which is super interesting for the park that used to say open no later, at the very, very latest, at say 7, 8 o'clock.
I think the latest we've been in. We've been in
We
for
did an
extra magic hours.
So we made a point of
Yes.
it was Animal Kingdom.
And it was that park is phenomenal when the sun goes down.
Far side of the Tree of Life.
Yeah.
It wasn't lit at all,
no,
was it? It
it's
was so dark and
fantastic at
amazing.
night, that park.
Expedition Everest will blow your mind at night.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that time when we were staying on site, 6 o'clock was the latest we were in there.
Now, obviously, part of that is due to the appeal of Avatar. At least a big part of it, at least for guys like Travis, who I know is waiting to get out there, is all the bioluminescent stuff.
Yeah.
Which that's what they're trying to show off. You've got all these like amazing, like, you've got like all these set decorations and lights, and Hogsmeade is, I still maintain, the most magical theme park land that you could be in after the sun goes down.
Oh, I completely agree. It's beautiful.
And
Where?
probably
Hogsmeade.
Oh, yeah.
Hogsmeade. Like 5% of your guests get to see that just because you're shutting it down as soon as the sun goes down most nights.
Yeah.
So for sure, definitely agree with you.
Yeah. A link to that, because I've got down one of my categories is evenings. So same thing.
Yeah.
But fireworks. You know, I know that Universal struggle with it because it's a residential. They're in the middle of a residential area. And I'm hoping that if the news at Lockheed land, maybe if that becomes a third gate, we're going to see some end of night spectacular shows. Because let's face it, you know, you go to say Magic Kingdom and you end your night with wishes.
Yeah, the whole night
and you
is
end
geared
on a
around
high.
that. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you have that finale and you leave. Whereas, unfortunately, because of the residential area we're in, the park just closes and you just filter out.
Yeah, there's no
I mean, yes, you go into City Walk, but there isn't that grand
point.
end to your night. Yeah, there's.
You have a little bit with Cinematic Spectacular, but it doesn't see it. At least for me, it doesn't have that emotional gut punch that the Disney ones have.
No,
but it's still that. It's a focal point that everyone's around the lagoon at a certain point, and then it finishes, and you all sort of files out. Whereas it's like it's 10 to 7. The park shuts at 7. I suppose we better start wandering out now.
10 to 7. Head for Hogsmeade and loiter till you get ushered out.
Yeah, do Forbidden Journey last thing, and you're the last ones out.
Or do Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of ties into one of the ones I had here too, was opening shows, you know, like making like how Disney kind of makes an event out of like mundane things, like walking into the park to begin with, you know. Like they have the big welcoming show, the opening thing, and you know.
Yeah, you rope drop
when you're heading out. And Universal does, you know, kind of a very limited version of that. They have the first family like come in and kind of kick things off, but I think they could do something a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing at Islands of Adventure when you consider that was their grand park, that they've never really done anything.
No. Especially when you walk into such a spectacular area as Port of Entry.
Yeah.
They could do something. Have trades in the background literally just like bustling away to free up the walking space. You know, just something like that.
Just something, to mark the opening of the park, to make a big deal out of it. And yeah, I agree with that.
And on the flip side of that, I've got also your Disney staff, your Disney cast members, wave goodnight as you leave in the parks. So you get waved off.
The Kiss Goodnight, I do believe it's called, Hunter, is that correct?
I thought that was the final firework.
Well,
no, I'm sure.
The Kiss Goodnight is when that's actually as far as like the projections or the lights on the castle.
All right. But yeah, like I always remember it at Epcot. They all stood at the side waving as you go out. Yeah.
I've had that happen several times at Universal, though.
Really?
Like with the team members waving you out. Yeah, I remember there's at the very, very end of the night, they tend to get a team member from each attraction and they'll wave you out. So you'll see the Jurassic Park River Adventure crew next to the guys from Cat in the Hat, and they'll wave you out. It's something cool. They definitely do that. I'm not sure if it's all the time, but I've seen it quite a few.
That's maybe because we loiter just get kicked out by security.
It's not something I've ever noticed.
This is like I think this might be like 10 minutes before closing for the next 20 minutes after closing. If you're kind of hanging out or you're riding an attraction or something like that, you might miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, like you say, it's just making that spectacle of anything, and Universal don't really do that with anything really.
Right.
No, that I can think of.
Because I'll go similar as well with, I know I'm probably jumping in, the Hunter hasn't gone yet, just shows and experiences around the park as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
They've tried to do it a little bit Universal with the, is it the Beat Builders and straight out a food truck, Lise said.
Yeah.
Obviously,
People swear by the Beat Builders, and I don't get it personally, but I mean, if that's your thing,
I
go
like
for it.
it.
I'm glad it's there.
I would
think-
watch something like that. I like that.
I don't
type
think
of
Universal
thing.
has a show that's on the level of something you would find at some of the Disney stuff, minus something like the horror makeup show. I think that's kind of their best show, and that's their classic show. And I don't think anything else is nearly on the same level, personally.
I mean, they've obviously knocked it out. For me, the pinnacle of it at Universal is Celestina Warbeck and the Wizarding Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but the Frog Choir in Hogsmeade,
I
I
love that.
personally, I
Adore
think
it.
it's fantastic. Not so keen on the Spirit Rally, but then around the rest of the park, there's not an awful lot, and I'm a big fan of just random live entertainment in the parks, and I think that's something Disney does much better than Universal does.
Because it takes you out of your trudge from attraction to attraction. It distracts you.
Yeah. They tend to
From
do
that
it in the
little
summer when
journey
it's
you have.
really busy, but during times when just normal times, they don't.
Just coming back from Disneyland, that is something that's every other corner at Disneyland is live music or some sort of performance. And Walt Disney World's definitely not on the same scale, but Disney they've got a lot more attention towards, more interactive experiences as far as that is concerned. I'm not sure where they stopped. I mean, I know they're still out there, but it used to seem like there were a lot more characters you could interact with out in the streets that I don't see as much. I'm not sure if that's gone from a random thing to just it's only during certain times of the year.
Oh, is
As
that
far as,
Disney we're
like,
talking?
The Men in Black agents that used to
yes.
roam the park and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of that in a long time.
Well, that's one of the lists on my list, actually. I've got, I think Disney do character meet and greets much better than Universal do. There's not many. I mean, we're not massive meet and greeters as it is. And I think the ones, when they get it right, they get it right.
Yeah.
I think you look at,
You Men in Black agents.
yes, and your Night Bus conductor and your Hogwarts Express conductor, when you get those face characters, they are fantastic. And I'm not saying that because I know a couple of them, but they are phenomenal. Any character, I find it awkward interacting with suited characters. And even like when we went with the kids the first time, it's awkward because you can't really have a conversation. It's weird.
Yeah, you can't read things as well.
Whereas with people like you meet the Marvel characters and like you said, the Men in Black and
Lucy and
those face characters are really good. But then you look at what Disney are doing with the interactive Mickey Mouse and stuff like that, and even to a lesser extent, Turtle Talk with Crush. You get a little bit of that in Universal with the Mystic Fountain.
yeah.
But I think character meet and greets is something that Disney do far better than Universal.
Yeah. Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor is another like kind of interactive thing.
Yeah, oh
like
yes.
Turtle Talk
Yeah.
was saying, though, like, that's really effective. And like you said, Universal doesn't do anything like that. I kind of prefer though those like the walk-up characters like they used to have, as an adult, it's kind of weird to stand in line.
Yeah.
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 I think for like a character like that, but I mean, if you've got just like the walk-up characters in the park, which I guess they really can't do anymore because of the volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just remember, back in the day being able to just, walk up to them and get a picture really quick and move on. But
It's like for me, Universal really missed the trick, and I still don't get. I think when we did I did the Producers Club roundtable not that long ago about character meet and greets, and I still don't understand their reasoning for it. But the Transformers meet and greet, you look at the meet and greet out in Hollywood, and it is arguably the best character meet and greet you will see anywhere because they let those characters go to town.
Oh, yeah.
Megatron is
Scathing.
but it's absolutely brilliant. If you
Yeah.
YouTube any of those clips because it's someone. I'm assuming it's like the Mystic Fountain where they can see what's going on and literally live talking to that person and ripping them to bits. It's phenomenal. And the reason they trialed it for one day in Universal Studios Florida, but the reason they didn't do it was apparently due to the language barrier of so many Mexican guests coming in. But then my big thing with that is, so you're not going to do it with Transformers, which are there on the right-hand side if you're looking up that street.
Yeah.
If you turn just slightly to your left, there's Donkey's photo finish.
Yes.
Which is exactly the same thing, but we'll let them do it. I don't understand that. That's where they dropped the ball for me. That could have been the best meet and greet in Orlando.
Would you say it's asinine behavior?
Hey!
You can take that one to the bank.
But yes, they could definitely learn something from Disney as far as character meet and greets, because I think kids still want to, families still want to meet those characters, especially like the Marvel ones. They could do more with that in there, because I mean, there's probably no characters in any theme park at the moment that are as big as those Marvel characters.
No, probably not.
And I'd like to see more in other areas of the parks. I think we should do a top 5. I've got a top 5 formulating in my head. This has been formulating in my head for a couple of weeks. We should do the top 5 characters you would like to see at Universal Orlando.
Mickey Mouse.
Shut up.
Magic
Universal
Mike.
could do better. Get Mickey
You know what
Mouse.
I mean? But
Aquaman.
relative to rides in there, I think that could be an interesting one.
I'd like to see a Magic Mike ride.
I think they're getting better with it. I mean, look at stuff like the Raptor encounter. Like that, those are really cool experiences, and I think that's something they're working on. I just don't know if it's a priority thing, and I'm not sure if they're interested. I think they're more focused on like their attractions than they are the live entertainment right now.
But you need to give people more to do in the parks than ride. There needs to be more than just rides. You know, there's not a lot of shows in either of those parks, and you need those things to take people out of the streets and out of the lines for those rides. Otherwise, you're going to get 60, 90-minute waits for stuff.
What are you talking about? Everything's a show when you have to wear the glasses.
You know what I mean? Like, you look at something like a Festival of the Lion King or a Finding Nemo the musical. You know, the last time we saw Finding Nemo the musical, I'll be honest, I had the soundtrack in the car for probably 3 months coming home. It's phenomenal.
Big blue world.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's
great.
The first time I saw it, I wasn't sure about the puppetry, and then when you watch it again, you see it for what it is. It is fantastic.
First time we saw it, there was an annoying guy in front of us with his bloody iPad.
I think I was sat talking to Darren on Facebook actually the first time.
Oh, there you go then.
All right, let me get into this. Let me dive in. I've waited. I've done my time. 10 years of it in Azkaban. The thing that Universal, I don't know if they're going to ever be able to correct this, and that's sad. Universal, with the exception of one attraction, has gutted everything classic about their park.
Yeah,
you're so focused on appealing towards the modern market and what's new and what's hip and everything like that. I know I sound like a curmudgeon old man with my shotgun get off my lawn, but they have fully gotten rid of everything. Not that it doesn't make them unique because they're appealing towards people's interests, but aside from Harry Potter, a lot of this stuff, Transformers and Fast and the Furious, you've got to wonder ultimately what the lifespan of this stuff is.
Yeah, they've only got a finite shelf life.
Yeah, and I mean, sure, Transformers is based on, what's considered a classic animated series towards tons of people, but it's not. It's based on a very specific iteration of Transformers, which is the Michael Bay era, Transformers.
Yeah. It is, but I think it gets away with it because it's 95% based on the robots and not the storylines and the sort of human characters. I think it gets away with it a little bit more.
Sure, but I don't think ultimately that's going to hold up as well as if it were to be, based on like the classic Transformers, because that's what people are going to remember 100 years down the line.
Like Spider-Man.
like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's
and even though
not based on the
Spider-Man's-
movies; it's based on the sort of the 80s
No, and
cartoon
they've got-
series.
I mean, the Q is the 90s,
Yeah.
like the pre-show video, everything, or is the 90s animated Spider-Man film. But Spider-Man is an iconic, comic book character, arguably the biggest comic book character in the entire world, and that works on the merits of that.
Andy sat listening to
And-
that going, how dare you say Spider-Man's
No,
more
I think-
iconic than Batman?
I was just thinking
No,
it
I think
silently.
as far as worldwide appeal, I definitely
Yeah.
think Spider-Man's the biggest one. But they've just kind of, everything after it gets old and it kind of fades away, they just tear it down and put something else there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've got to kind of realize at some point that old attractions have to have this transition phase where they go from modern towards kind of dated and then just god awful, please get rid of it before it becomes a classic attraction, unless it's a classic from day one, like I think something like Forbidden Journey would be considered. E.T., I definitely think it needs an overhaul, but I'm almost worried that like within the next 5 years that's going to be taken out, and then you have just everything is so modern that nothing is going to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Everything is disposable at that point. And I can't tell if that's just because Universal being so property heavy, they're just going to have to constantly have a constantly revolving door there, or if they've got to start developing original ideas and concepts to have this stuff based off of, which is not towards the appeal of what most people are going to Universal for.
Yeah. Well, this is the first point I made. I've written in capitals nostalgia. That's what I've written, because as we know, Disney have got a long history which they can look back on, they can draw inspiration from, and that absolutely works in their favor, because Disney,
the most nostalgic thing they have is the cinematic spectacular at the end of the night, because of the relationships that you built up with those films.
It just makes
Carry
you
on,
sad
Tracy.
though. That.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, Disney's ingrained in people's psyches. Whether you've visited a park or not, we've all experienced Disney at some point in our
You've
lives.
seen a movie or you've...
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or whatever,
Right.
So what Disney are actually selling is a childhood, whether it's your past childhood, your present childhood, or future childhood. That's what they're selling, is childhood. And we all love to look back on our childhoods in those halcyon days.
But then the argument's there that it's a little bit too stuck in nostalgia.
Sure, but it is amazing to someone like myself that can talk to someone like my grandmother, and she could say, hey, I remember going to the Haunted Mansion 2 years after the park opened, and we can share. It's been updated, it's been changed, but the basic idea and the attraction itself is still standing.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that at Universal minus E.T., and that's more so. That's almost
That's
like a
quite
first
new
generation
still.
thing for a lot of people.
No, it was the opening day.
No, I'm saying that's quite new still in the in the scheme of things, like with Disney.
Yeah, you're talking maybe people, a little bit older than Darren or whatever, that E.T. is the only attraction that's still there that they could bring their kids to.
I mean,
Exactly.
Darren, you're the one that could probably speak to this better than all of us, because you've been going to the parks literally when it was what it was when it opened.
Yeah. Which is very different than what it is now.
Yeah.
There's not much. I mean, the things that I'm nostalgic about going through the parks are actually like the facades and the different areas of the parks and that kind of thing. It's not the attractions, because they're not there, you know. But that is another thing. Like at Disney, going to Disney, I can go on Haunted Mansion, I can go on Space Mountain. These are the attractions that I went on, when I first went to Disney the first time. And they are still there in pretty much the same shape. Like I said, it's been updated a little bit here and there, but Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Splash Mountain, all these for the most part, I can go on and remember those times that from when I was a kid. So it really lines up with what Tracy said, about nostalgia. So.
Well, that's it as well, because Disney are known for the set design, the physical sets, their animatronics, the music as well. So, for example, like the Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and even Splash Mountain have that nostalgic feel because of it. Like we say, people who, it doesn't matter how long ago, how recently you've ridden, people can come together, and even though things have changed, they can still enjoy that memory together. And a little note I'd made was, maybe these rides are better than they actually are because of the fondness in people's memories. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, Jaws was an absolute stellar example of this that Universal have sadly removed.
Yeah.
You know, it had that set and the animatronics and the interaction and everything.
Yeah, which that's part of the thing. I mean, you can base these off of attraction, or you can base these off of movies that people are considering, but maybe they should be a little bit more selective about the franchises that they are including, because some of it just seems incredibly short-sighted and more of a corporate tie-in. Like, I'm not bummed out that Jimmy Fallon is in the park. It's just ultimately that's something that's going to be there and that it's going to go, unless it stays way past its shelf life. You got to keep in mind, okay, you've got to decide, okay, am I going to constantly have every 10 years redo the park every 20 years or whatever, or am I actually going to start to plan with in mind, okay, these are what are going to be considered our evergreen or our classic attractions?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a difficult thing to sort of compare the two, because Disney has a lot more space. They can have those classic attractions in and have space to build new things, whereas Universal unfortunately doesn't have that luxury, which is where most of it comes from, that they've got to go in and replace, because otherwise, where's the space coming from?
Let's not pretend that Disney hasn't cut their classic attractions either.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost Snow White's Scary Adventures, which has been an opening day attraction.
Mr.
We
Toad.
lost Mr. Toad way back when. We lost the Nautilus,
20,000 Leagues.
20,000 Leagues, which a lot of people consider classic attractions. But I think with Universal, with a park that's constantly evolving like that, you've got to be careful about fully cutting everything and kind of losing your roots in a way. Yeah. Like Jaws should have been the attraction that was going to be there from opening day till 50 days later, but it's not. And that is partially a space thing, but you got to wonder if there was something else they could have done to accommodate for it.
Like putting Back to the Future back in. Probably the best decision.
You've got to look at what they did with Jaws and replaced it with something that they, you can't even compare the two. You look at the money that Jaws was bringing in, and then look at what they're now bringing in, having Diagon Alley there. It was an absolute no-brainer for them.
Technically, they do have more land. They have 2 unused lagoons.
Yeah, but if they pave them over to put attractions in, I'll go mental, because I love a theme park with a lagoon in the middle of it. I think it just...
Yeah, but...
No.
Especially islands, that's huge. They could take half of that away and it'd still be big enough.
No. Because otherwise it won't be islands it'll be Island of Adventure.
Well, at the moment it's Circle of Adventure.
But it's still technically islands, whereas if you take the water out, it's just Land of Adventure. It's not even...
Is it Harry Potter Island then?
Yeah. Well, Marvel Superhero
City World of Harry Potter Island?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to wonder, especially with Phase 3 coming, that Phase 3 of Harry Potter is coming. Like, I think they're kind of reaching critical overload with it. Like, as much as we love Harry Potter, that maybe you could focus on putting in some other stuff that will drive appeal, because as much as we love Harry Potter, and as I think that's their evergreen franchise, I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see where Harry Potter and the public mindset is in 50 years. I'm sure it'll definitely keep in the way that something like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings has.
Absolutely.
But is that still going to drive people to see a themed theme park land 50 years after its debut? And I don't think it will.
But then you could say that about anything. Is Star Wars Land going to be as popular in 50 years' time? I think the difference is with something like Harry Potter, you've got 7 of the biggest selling books of all time to back it, and that's the difference. You're going to have people like me and Tracy who grew up on the books that will pass them down to your
we didn't
kids,
grow up and we were late to them.
and then the kids will pass them on to their kids. Like Hunter, when he has kids, I've no doubt the first books they'll get shoved out when they're old enough will be those Potter books. So you're always going to have, it's always going to come from that. The films won't hold up in the slightest, but I think the material it's based on will. And if you've been given, if you're a kid in 10, 15 years time and you've been given these books and that are so fantastical, and you go, and Hunter turns around and goes, you do know that we can visit these places. Like, what the hell? Right, take me there. I think 50 years is a long time. I don't think any land themed on an IP is always going to age badly, whatever it is.
Do you think we are dating? Do you think the parks are dating themselves more so by dedicating entire sections of the theme park instead of just going with more of a fantasy land route with multiple properties put into a land? Do you think that maybe building an entire land is ultimately going to... Do you think that's ultimately going to date it quicker as time goes on?
I think it depends what it is. I think something like Hogsmeade or a Diagon Alley, no, I don't think it will. I think a Skull Island gets away with it as well because they've picked something like Con that is so iconic and that does have years and years and years of history behind it.
And if they did something like Lord of the Rings, I think that'd stand up because it's not set in a modern time. Things that are futuristic or set now will definitely have a limited shelf life, in my opinion.
If they did Fast and Furious Land, then yes, I think it would do.
Yeah.
Like Cars Land out in California, I've only seen it on videos, but because of how it's kind of set in that sort of 60s, 70s, 50s era, isn't it? With the neon and stuff. I think that won't date because of just the era. Like kind of what Tracy said there. I think if you're basing stuff, you build stuff that's based on now, then yes, I think it'll date. You base something that's sort of set in an era of 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, then I don't think it does because it's already nostalgic when you put it in there in the first place. I think something like the Wizarding World, because it's, for all it is supposed to be, for all intents and purposes now, because the Wizarding World, the only word I can use is it's backwards, really. It's not, it doesn't rely on technology. I think that gets away with it, so it doesn't sit in a futuristic technological sort of era. So I think places like that. So I think it just comes down to purely what the IP is that it's based on, or whether it's going to age or not.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that do you think a lot of the attractions at Universal are also going to date a lot quicker because they are screen-based attractions?
Yeah. I think you only have to look at Forbidden Journey now to what those screens are when you go through that ride. The difference between 2013 for us and then 2015, they were blurry, and I actually got nauseous on it the last time we rode it a few times, where I didn't get that in 2013. So those projections don't age well.
Okay. And so I wanted to bring this up on the last episode, but I guess I'll just drop it here because it kind of ties in. If you were going to make your attractions screen-based or projection-based or 3D attractions, you need to constantly be at the forefront of keeping those things updated and as sharp and as clean of an image quality as possible. Because especially with the prevalence of 4K televisions and your OLED TVs, and people have 4K phones for crying out loud now, doing these blurry projections like what you've got on Simpsons right now is not going to cut it.
No. I don't understand why Hollywood's getting the 4K 120 frames per second. Yeah, I don't understand that. Why put it in there but not put, the first one, the original, the best one, arguably.
In your opinion?
Japan's the only one that I think could potentially challenge it.
Well, Japan just has the benefit of having the lake.
It's in an entirely sectioned off park on its own, though, isn't it? You walk up like a tree-lined walkway into Hogsmeade. There's nothing, you can't get out of Hogsmeade like you go through into Jurassic Park. It is its own little cul-de-sac area. Yeah, it's like Diagon Alley for all intents and purposes.
I'm sure that's a whole topic in and of itself, and not to go too deep on it, but I think there's something to be said about, in your constant pursuit of trying to stay modern, are you going to lose what eventually is going to drive a lot of people to make repeat visits, and what's going to appeal to people, doing trips later in life, or something you pass down as a tradition like people would with the Walt Disney parks?
Yeah, another one I had for this one was limited edition merchandise based on attractions and holidays and that kind of thing. I think Disney really knocks it out of the park when it comes to these kind of things.
Really?
Yeah, and I think that Universal does not do any of those kind of things at all. Because there's very long amounts of time that it'll go through at Universal where I'll go through all the shops and I don't see anything new at all,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to Disney that's kind of always changing and, refreshing their stock. And I can attest to that because I have a bookshelf behind me
Yeah.
that has a lot of Haunted Mansion merchandise from 1 year of having an annual pass. So, anybody else have anything for the first half here?
I do.
Okay.
Chill out zones. Something that,
Mhm.
we all get a bit frazzled at times. Disney's got some great quiet spots to go into. Discovery trails. You
I
can
love that.
You can sit in the railroad and go and do a loop in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I'll
You
agree
can go
with that.
You can go on the Liberty Bell, which is lovely as well.
The TTA.
TTA, you've got the Pangani Forest Exploration Trail, the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Is Rafiki's Planet Watch still open or is that closed?
No, it's still
It's
there.
still there.
No, it's still should have closed down.
Yeah.
For the Zootopia expansion that should have happened, but
Just things to do that aren't
You could,
thrill ride-ish.
but they've got shade. You can just go
Yeah.
and sit with a drink. We've done that a few times. Gone and got some nuts and a drink.
I'll
Just
agree
gone and
with
sat
that,
down.
definitely.
And I've sat and I've thought about the Universal parks, and the only places I can come up with now, there's nowhere in the studios.
No, I've fell asleep in T2 before. I think we both did because that's why the
I'm
seat
talking-
drop at the end comes
But
because
I'm
it woke us
talking
up.
that's not in a ride. I'm talking about somewhere outside that's shaded and it's quiet, it's set away. So you've got the Discovery Centre,
Behind,
but behind
no
it,
bugger
but
goes
that's
out there.
that's a smoking area now.
Is it?
As far as I'm aware, it's a smoking area. Or the little path in Ship the Olive, where like Plymouth Rock and all of the little gags are.
Mm.
That's about it. That's all I can think of.
Central.
and
If you get
it's-
out, I never know which of those two bloody parks.
Oh,
which is the
forget, yeah,
one?
you've got Battery Park.
Is that the one over by
That's where we.
Animal Actors? Which is that one? I get confused.
Yeah, that's
Central Park is the one over there.
right. So Battery
it.
Park's the one in front of the Mummy then, or over by the
Right.
Mummy.
all right. I always
That's,
get them.
that's the smoking
Right.
section. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, the one over.
So Central Park with
that's
the, with the
chill
big,
out zone.
Yeah.
which you walk through, which has always got the best scare zone where Travis always works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
where we
with all
watch
the rocks and
Cinematic
stuff like that,
Spectacular from.
Yeah, I'm forgetting about that one. So, but
Yeah, there's hardly anyone ever in there.
that's it.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of places just to.
No, and it's nice to have those chill out zones because much as I love to be rushing
Yeah.
around, sometimes I just want to sit down with a beer or a giant donut
I tell you who
and
we
just
need
chill out and
to get
catch my
on
breath.
to talk about chill out zones in the Universal parks is Maureen.
Hmm.
I'm sure Maureen,
She'll
with
have some
having
good
Zach,
ideas.
she will know every
Yeah.
spot in those parks.
But another point is
Best chill out spot. It's
With-
outside the Jurassic Park Discovery Center when there's a giant thunderstorm about to swallow
Yes.
you and your family.
But with the Disney ones, you wander around if you want to at your own slow pace. There's things to see. There's things to do.
Mhm.
You go in Pangani and Maharaja. You're looking at the animals. It's shaded. You're chilling out. You're sitting down on the Liberty Bell or the railroad, but you're still looking at stuff.
Just those
You're
times.
still interacting, but
Time, yeah.
relaxing,
Just
rather
to,
than just sitting like you would in Central Park or
yeah.
behind the Discovery Centre.
Yeah, I've said that before. It's like when we used to go at Flamingo Land, one of the first things we would do was just do a loop
Jump
on
on
the
the train.
train, just something that you're not necessarily on a ride, but you're not just sat doing nothing. Yeah, I do think Universal lacks them.
Yeah.
It's something that Disney does much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And another thing you can do at Disney that usually you can't do at Universal is just like pop into a restaurant and sit down and chill out at a table.
Yeah.
Like a quick service or something like that. Because like if you try to go to the Simpsons and do that, all the tables are reserved, quote unquote.
Yeah. You
And,
have food in
like,
hand.
Exactly, to seat you. So I've had problems with that, and it's the same thing over at like the one in San Francisco, a Richter Burger.
Doctors, yeah.
Yeah, Richter's. So
Mhm.
yeah, so there's not a lot of air conditioned spots where you can go, as opposed to like Epcot, which is like
Mhm.
there's tons of places with
Yeah.
chairs and stuff you can chill out where there's air conditioning and that kind of thing.
All
So-
the hangout areas at Universal are obvious hangout areas, so everyone's there. You literally might be just sat on the floor. I think when we went, do you know what? I think we're getting further enough into this. If we can drag this out for another 10 minutes, I think we could probably split this into 2 shows. We're at 45 minutes. No, not tonight, but then follow.
I've actually got a quick one that I'd like to bring up.
I've got a couple. I was going to say, I think when we went, we got, was it cauldron cakes? We got from Honeydukes last time, and we ended up just sat against the wall by the lockers for Dragon Challenge because the place was heaving and there's nowhere just to sit and get out of the way. So, I think actually but again, it's not covered, that area where it's in front of the Hogsmeade train station, Hunter. It's where we met you and Kim when we were in there last time. There's like a circular, wall thing, but it's not covered. I
forget you got the Hogwarts Express.
I forgot.
Yeah, but that's only
you up and rubbed your back in a way that puts you to sleep.
But the Hogwarts Express, that's the closest thing they've got to just a simple sort of chilled out. But then you're queuing for you've got like the marathon walk to get to it if you're in Hogsmeade, then the 3-hour wait to get on it, and then you're on it for 2 minutes and then you're off.
Yeah.
But what does this say?
Are you saying they need to just pick up Ellen's Energy Adventure?
They need something like that.
Yeah, non-riders.
They need a Hall of Presidents.
Yeah.
Whereas you could go into Disney and not ride anything and still be fully entertained all day long.
I think you could at Universal, but there's not as much to do, which is kind of what I said.
I mean, it's smaller parcel of land
earlier on, but there's if you could go to you could go to Universal and not ride anything and have and still have a really good time, which is something I want to do at some point. But I think there's much more to do outside of rides at Disney. Mm-hmm. I think they do a better job of an overall entertaining theme park rather than it just being about the rides themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Hunter, what were you going to say?
Why are the Universal City Walk bathrooms always dirty as hell? They're atrocious. And that, I just think overall, the actual parks themselves seem to be maintained okay, but Disney, at least in my experience, is infinitely cleaner than Universal is.
I would disagree with it, at least with our experiences. One of the first things that we came back from Orlando in 2004, 2005, having been to Disney and being blown away by how immaculate those theme parks were. It was one of the things you noticed more than anything else, that everything was spotlessly clean and amazing. And when we went over in 2013, that was something that was noticeable, but in the exact opposite
2009,
direction.
it was noticeable because that's when we had the incident in Morocco toilets with Jade, and Disney had to provide her with a full set of clothing because of the state of their toilets.
But again, you two have been obviously in the last 4 years, and we haven't. So that's obviously changed. But I've never found Universal to be dirty.
No, I have favourite toilets in there.
Have you ever found it to be dirty,
But
Darren?
saying that, I know...
Well, the only ones that are dirty that I've come across that are dirty are City Walk, like Hunter said.
I was just going to say...
I've never noticed. The only ones we ever go behind guest services.
Yeah, and they're
under the walkway.
They're awful.
Can't say I've ever noticed.
You're a bloke.
It's the people that have been on a car ride, rode down from Ohio overnight.
Yeah, and don't forget, that's like the nightclub spot type, that's where all the drunks go and miss the toilet.
I've never noticed them being particularly filthy.
No, I have to be desperate to go in them. So, yeah. I asked the kids when I was looking for inspiration. Raymond agreed on the nostalgia thing. And Jade said that there's no interaction with things like pin trading. So for her age group, she gets a lot out of pin trading.
Is pin trading such a big thing in Disney anymore?
Yeah.
It still is.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say. I mean, it's not as big for adults, but I think it's bigger than ever probably for like the casual people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people go in there and just like buy a pin or two and then just trade them the whole time they're on their trip.
I still love to go and just buy a couple of blind bags, see what I get and trade what I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
know.
see, it's a shame because they got away those Simpsons figures, the blind boxes
Oh,
and the
I know, I've got a
Simpsons
couple
figures
there I wanted to-
in the Quickie Mart as
I
well.
wanted to get quite a few more. Yeah, and Jade said there isn't anything like that, which is great as well. When you've got a kid and you're in a queue and a team member or cast member walks past and they've got pins on, stop moaning, go and trade some pins.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem that happens over at Disney is adults because
Yeah.
when you actually do get into the pin trading, you'll notice at a lot of the locations, all the pins are exactly the same because they just kind of,
Yeah.
I'm sure, run around and set everybody up with the most common generic set of pins that they can't sell. So you see a lot of those, and it just seems like whenever somebody trades a significant one in, those get like swooped up and taken away, and they're usually not by the little kids, you know.
Yeah. Although Jade's had some really good interactions with cast members, haven't we, over
Yeah,
that?
I think
Where
that's,
she's ended up, because she's been so polite and been so nice, she's ended up coming with an extra pin
Yeah.
or being given a couple of extra backs because just to make sure, because she likes to get the double pin ones, have a couple of extra backs and let's just make sure all your pins are attached firmly, and you know, and she's been guided as to which ones to buy because this one's actually limited edition was one of the ones that she got, wasn't it, in the trading?
that's the real good thing about pin trading because it gives you that excuse to have interaction with the cast members.
But then again, that was 2013.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're like now.
Right. Well, Hunter, you were pretty big into it at one point, right? If not,
I was. It's become one of those things where like I enjoy trading just because I enjoy interacting with the cast members, and that's like if I get a couple of extras, or sometimes I'll do like the eBay thing where I'll buy like a set or something where it's like 5 pins for $10, which is the price of like, you know, a normal pin. I try not to do the big like lots because a lot of those pins are like fake or scrappers, and then they just end up with somebody who doesn't want one. But like the actual legitimate ones, you know, if I get one pin from that I like, then I'll bring the other 4 to trade. But more so now, it's just, especially with anybody who's interested in pin trading, check out eBay first, just because you can get the $12 pin for $6 on eBay. I tend to just buy the pin that I like now and stick with that and just kind of add it to my book that I've had. The trading is a really nice thing, and the cast members are always super happy to do it with you. But like Darren said, there's not a lot of motivation for me to do that anymore, just because most of the pins every time I go are the exact same ones.
Yeah. So do you say you keep yours in a book?
Yes, I've actually got like a pin trading book that I've had since my first Walt Disney World trip that my grandmother got me, and I've just kept everything in there.
Oh, that's nice.
It's like a passport book thing, aren't they?
Because I've got a pin board.
Okay.
I've got a few pin boards, and I'm just filling them up, and then I'm going to make a display of them.
They're really nice little mementos, and especially if you get them for a good price, you know, or if you trade for them or whatever, they're just a nice little thing that you can put up. And I guess in the same vein of how people collect like pressed pennies and things like that.
We've got hundreds of the bloody
I collect
things.
those as well.
The pins I would rather have on display in something like a book if someone wants to look at it than, you know, have a t-shirt or something like that I might wear once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've only got a couple. Of course, I get any of the limited edition, like Haunted Mansion ones or anything like that. I usually pick up. But then Nina and I also did that. We bought 1 pin each when we got our annual passes, and then for the whole year, we just traded them when we were able to find something cool, which might be like once a month, going like every weekend.
Yeah.
You'll finally see something unique and trade it out and that kind of thing. So.
Which
I think I probably traded
Universal,
like 5 times the entire year.
yeah, and Universal does the pin thing, but I don't think I've ever seen a team member out for trading.
No, I've never seen trading.
And some of the
pins
pins
are-
that Universal do are awesome as well.
I spend a fortune on them. I
Like
love
the
them.
Harry Potter ones and stuff are cool. I mean, there's the pin, funny over by Central Park. There's that pin station there. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I always get a load
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
I think that's actually my main souvenir.
Because I mean, Universal have tried to do the sort of that theme merchandise a little bit with those little I don't want to call them pop vinyls, but they're not those little mini figures. There was like a Minions one, and E.T. and Kong and stuff, but they were actually crap. Because I said when we came over in 2013, I want every single one of them, and I walked into one of the shops and looked at them and went, I don't think I want to spend $7 each on them.
No.
But I know like a lot of people like to put them on a vest or a jacket. Like for instance, I have this jacket that I like to wear, and my next I can fit 3 pins on it. So it's the Universal Globe, and then I've got another one that's of just the Haunted Mansion, and then the next one is actually Wreck-It Ralph theme. So those are the 3 podcasts represented. As far as I'm concerned, they're neat little ways just to express not necessarily individuality, but just something to get a conversation going. And I like them for that.
Cheaper than
I've even worn them on just like my tie to work and talk with clients and customers and everything like that. It's just a little something that I think they're fun to have.
Yeah. I think Universal still puts them on those rubber backs there though, so that they fall off and they can sell them again at the park.
Yeah.
Because those things don't hold for anything at all.
No, I've bought pin locks. Definitely do that if you have it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got one last I put on there. I think Disney at this point are doing better at incorporating screens into their attractions than Universal. I think
like Shanghai Pirates.
Yeah, well, since Forbidden Journey, the screen-based stuff has literally just become all screen-based. Whereas, you look at Pirates in Shanghai, and then you look at like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, where they've got the animatronics, but they're like the projected faces. The same with Frozen Ever After, and then you look at what's coming with Avatar. I mean, that Na'vi animatronic. It might only be the only one in that attraction, but wow.
Yeah.
And then also, I think I've seen the video of them riding down the Na'vi riverboat thing, and it's like kind of what we were hoping Kong was going to be a little bit. Where,
using the screens death instead of being the primary focus.
Yeah, there's like one bit I think where they were riding down, and there was like foliage and trees that were actually sort of physical effects, and then the screen behind it, and there was that it's like a jaguar wolf thing, whatever it is, out of Avatar, like sort of skulking along through the background. So I think they're trying to do basically what Universal did with Forbidden Journey more than Universal are, where they've gone, we can do so much more with screens, and it's all gone, the focus has gone to the screen entirely, whereas I think Disney are trying to do a good combination of both. And I'm hoping that once Avatar opens and whatever they do with Star Wars Land, Universal look and kind of what you mentioned to us off air with the Nintendo thing, Hunter, that it is going to push them to do more amalgamations of the two rather than the screens just being the entire focus.
Yeah, well, I've heard just from several people, Universal is very aware of the screen problem, and that's why we are not going to see that Secret Life of Pets attraction, because some stuff came out about a newer attraction, and people think it's a little too screen heavy, and it has not been receiving very good reviews from the actual guests. So this cause, I mean, they're aware of it. Fast and the Furious is still they're a little too far on down the line for them to change too much about it.
Yeah,
they are trying to retool it, but come Nintendo, everything is going to have to. Everything's going to have to be changed.
Good, and I think that's the beauty of having a property that you're not entirely in control of. That you have people behind you that go, do you know what? We're not happy with you doing it that way. We want you to do it this way. And I think that's why you look at something like Gringotts compared to Forbidden Journey. That when they built the original Hogsmeade, JK was very, very hands on. You know, she was there all the time, overseeing everything. And then I think she kind of saw what they did with that and go, you know what you're doing now, crack on. And that's why you find Gringotts is a lot more screen-based, because they didn't have that person sort of pushing them to lift it to the levels of a Forbidden Journey.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because, you know, Universal know what they're doing. They can create good rides. I think they just need...
Sometimes you get a bit complacent. You find something that that is working for you.
Yeah.
So you rely on it, and you don't realise that you're actually relying on it too heavily, and everything's becoming the same.
It's become a total crutch now.
Yeah.
Rather than using it to tell the story, it's become the entire focus. And it's a shame, and it is very noticeable.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's why Fast and Furious got delayed.
Yeah.
It's because they've been taking taking their time out to build a like white crash test dummy kind of thing that they're going to project Vin Diesel onto
Yeah.
in a physical car alongside yours. Otherwise, it's the same. Anything else? Because this kind of turned into like a whole episode on its own.
Yeah. Considering we were supposed to be doing Torhas, but you can get 2 shows out of it. I think it's give us more time to talk about things rather than trying to cram it into half an hour.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about parades.
Disney do
what are our
parades
thoughts on
much
it?
better. They do that.
But Universal don't really have the space or the route, do they?
I think they do
why-
pretty okay with their route as far as Mardi Gras is like concerned.
That's very
Yeah.
I suppose if you look at Christmas and Mardi, they could. Islands is a different story. I think you'd struggle over there because it's got to do a full route. It's got to do a full lap of the park really to be able to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, Macy's, wow.
Yeah.
You can't fault that. It was just one of those, what's our feelings on parades? I just wrote parades down. I didn't write anything else.
I think it's like the fireworks thing, and not in the sense of, hey, they can't do this because of space. I just don't think it's a priority for them.
No.
But
Yeah.
if they're going to be the Disney killer, or if they're going to try to be right up under Disney or an alternative to Disney, it's something they're going to have to consider going on down the line.
I disagree. I think if they try to out Disney, they will always lose. The tack they've got to take is to do different to what Disney are doing.
Yeah, extreme Tony Hawk Pro Skater Parade.
Do you know what I mean? Not necessarily just parades. Just because Disney do parades and you want to compete with Disney doesn't mean you need to do a parade.
Universal does what Nintendo don't. I think I got that right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to do the same as what they do. Be different. Don't say, look, you like that at Disney? Well, we've got the same thing here, but with different characters. Be different. And that's what I think they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's a story for next time.
But I think the parade and fireworks, that's a little bit different. Like if they were trying to do note for note, like if they were trying to beat Disney as far as like dark rides or something like that, I see what you're saying, but it's talking about what the average theme park guest expects from their experience and the hundreds of dollars that they're paying to attend the parks. I think most people expect a parade and a fireworks show.
The fireworks show, I agree with. The parade, Hunter, you know from having worked at those parks, those parades are a ball ache when they're on. As crowd control and congestion and everything that goes along with it. If you're not wanting to watch that parade, you've got to know where you want to be before they start calling the streets off. Otherwise, you're stuck.
Sure, but the reason it's like that in the first place is that's because people are taking up the walkways to walk the parade, not because of the parade route. It's the demand there, I think, outweighs the few people that don't want to watch the parade at any given point.
I know, because you could be, if you're in Animal Kingdom and you're by the Tree of Life, and I know the parade's not there anymore, but when that Mickey's Jammin' Jungle parade was on, and you wanted to be on Expedition Everest, if you didn't get across that road before that parade started, you were waiting until that parade finished to get over there.
And what time's the 3 o'clock? The 3 o'clock parade?
10 past.
Can't believe how many people ask that question.
Well, it depends, because if you're in Frontierland, it takes off at about 3:15, 3:20.
True.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this one.
I think you're right.
It's good. I don't have to think about what we're going to do in 2 shows' time. No, it's already planned.
Now I've got to make sure I don't lose these notes.
Please send us your thoughts.
Absolutely.
I wanna hear the
Yes.
listeners'
Yeah, email us
thoughts
in and
on this.
we can maybe start the next show with people's comments on this. No, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'd really reach out, through the email or Twitter or whatever. But I really want to talk about, is Universal trying too hard to appeal to the modern audience and kind of losing, they're going to lose the game in the long run because they're not going to have anything classic. I really think I know it was my topic, but I think as a whole, I think that's maybe the most important thing that Disney has a leg up over with Universal.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I enjoyed that.
yeah, definitely.
Considering you were
stressed for a
panicking like
week.
hell over it. I told you it was easy.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, join us in 2 weeks when we find out, what we think Universal does better and what Disney could take a few lessons from the little guy.
I think that's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, definitely. So for Lee, Tracy, and Hunter, this is Darren, and this has been the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
That's it for another unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by subscribing on iTunes, and while you're there, please leave us a rating and a review. Listen to us on Stitcher, Google Play, and all your podcast apps. Email us with any questions or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com, or even better, record your message at speakpipe.com/uuopodcast. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest, keyword UUO Podcast. Check out our blog for even more content at uuopodcast.com. Well, that's a wrap. See you next week.